It is snowing again. Good thing I am prepared. Hey guys, what's up? It's Holly and this is my rabbitry, Holly's Hollands Rabbitry. Find the link down below to check out my website. Today we are going to be talking about my 10 tips to keep your rabbits warm this winter season and to keep them healthy and happy and everything like that. Hopefully that's better. We'll see. Anyway, it is February and here in Western Washington it is the snowpocalypse, which basically means that it is a normal Midwest winter in Western Washington and we don't know what to do with that. So everyone in this area is going absolutely crazy, and because it's kind of my first time dealing with rabbits and these temperatures we have as well as this much snow, I wanted to just put together a huge list of all of the tips and tricks that have been helping me out with my rabbits this winter and that you guys have been asking for a really long time. But my winter was so mild, I didn't really have a lot of tips to put together because I wasn't needing to implement any of them because it was just a really mild winter, or so we all thought here in Western Washington. Sorry that the lighting is being really weird going in and out, but let's just get started with my top 10 tips. So number one, water is the most important thing for your rabbits, is making sure that their water bottles stay defrosted, that they have access to clean water at all times, because if they don't have water, they're going to stop eating, and if they stop eating, they're not going to have calories to burn to keep themselves warm, and if they don't have those calories, the cold is going to kill them really fast. So you do have to make sure that your rabbits always have clean water available, and I don't mean that it's going to kill them really fast, like they're going to die in a couple hours if they don't have clean water, but definitely a couple of days. And the cold weather really doesn't impact rabbits all that much unless they don't have access to those calories and nutrients that are going to keep them warm and safe. So my biggest tip in the area of water bottles and defrosting and everything like that is to give them warm water. I've heard that hot water or really warm water can upset rabbits' digestive systems, but when it is so cold outside, sub-freezing temperatures, the water is not going to stay warm. So don't worry about giving them warm water. It just takes a little bit longer for it to freeze. So it's definitely not going to stay warm enough to upset their digestive systems, but it'll stay warm enough so that it won't freeze an hour within you giving it to them. Next, if you have enough crocks or bowls, give your rabbits water out of the bowls. The bowls defrost faster and easier, and so you can just hit it onto something and then the ice block will fall out and you can refill it really fast. I wasn't able to do that because I don't have that many crocks, so I've just been using the water bottles. And when I go into my second tip, you're going to see how I've been able to keep my water bottles from getting frozen. Make sure you check your water bottles very, very often because they can freeze within just an hour or less than that in the sub-freezing temperatures. Lately, it's been getting into the 16, 15, 14 degrees in Western Washington, which is really, really unusual. So it's definitely been a little jarring to see how fast the water bottles really can freeze. So going into my second tip, I had to do some extra work to keeping them from getting frozen. So tip number 2 is to get a heater if you can. My rabbitry has electricity, but it doesn't have a heating system installed. So I was able to get a heater from like Big Lots, just a cheap one. I think it was 40 bucks, and I just plug it into the rabbitry, and this has actually been keeping the rabbits about 20 to 30 degrees warmer than it is outside. Now my shed is not insulated, so if yours is, then even without the heater you might be able to keep it a little bit warmer inside, but my shed gets the temperature of outside. It might only stay a couple degrees warmer. So it's definitely below freezing inside the shed when it's below freezing outside the shed. But with a heater, my rabbitry has been able to stay about 35 to 40 degrees, which is, as you know, above freezing. Because a heater is also a fire risk, especially because I have rabbit fur and hay in my rabbitry, I don't leave it on if I'm going to be leaving my house for extended periods of time or at night, because it is a fire hazard, it's a fire risk. So I don't leave it on if I'm not going to be able to continually check up on my rabbits. But it is on pretty much all day, especially when I'm snowed in here and I'm not going anywhere, then it's on in the rabbitry. And this has been keeping the water bottles from getting frozen. Now, the water bottles, because I turn the heater off at night, the water bottles do freeze overnight. But when I wake up at about 7, 8 a.m., I turn the heater on, and then the water bottles defreeze within just a couple hours. So I don't actually have to take them all inside, put them in the bathtub, defrost them. I can just leave them where they are, and they'll be defrosted within a couple of hours, and then the rabbits are good to go for during the day. I definitely am still refilling water bottles every single day with the warm water and everything like that to keep them from freezing, and obviously to make sure the rabbits have warm water at all times. So my third tip is to make sure you are stocked up on rabbit feed. Before the snow came, I was not able to do that, so we actually have a little break today in the snow. We're supposed to get some more tonight, but the roads are a little clear, so I'm heading to my Tractor Supply store right now. I've already called ahead, and they only have a few small bags. They don't have the 50 pounds that I usually get, just the 25 pounds, but I asked them to put those on hold for me, so I'm gonna grab all those, and that should be good for the remainder of this really snowy season, so that'll be good for them. And I'm stocked up on hay, so that's all great. So the reason why you need to be stocked up on food is that even if you're not snowed in, the Tractor Supplies or the places that get the food might be. The shipments might be unable to get to them, or other people are going out of their way to get the food and get all that's left. You know, those kinds of things, like I'm doing right now. So, you know, those kinds of things. So make sure you're stocked up before the snow comes if you can. If not, if you run out of food, if you know anyone that feeds the same kind of food near you, ask them to lend you some if you can get to them or if they can get to you. Because everyone wants to make sure that their rabbit friends are taken care of and that their friends' rabbits are taken care of. So definitely, if you need to, ask your friends for help. But don't let it come to that. Get food before, just all winter long, just have a stockpile of food, because that's just the best way to make sure that your rabbits are going to be able to eat and that they're going to be able to have those calories to burn. Like I said in tip number 1, if your rabbits aren't eating, it's much easier for them to die because of the storm, because they cannot get those calories to burn, because we all know winter burns a heck of a lot more calories than because of the cold. You burn more calories in the cold. If you didn't know, now you do. Tip number 4 is hay. Make sure you're always stocked up on hay and that you give a ton of hay to the rabbits. Fill their entire cage with hay if you can, because that is definitely going to help keep them warm. My rabbits do not have hay well, some of them do have hay right now, but I am actually in here doing that right now, and you guys have seen me give all the bunnies hay so many times that I'm not going to do it during the video. But they will be getting hay here very shortly, and especially if it gets in the negative degrees, make sure your rabbits always have hay, because number 1, that's going to give them more calories, and number 2, it is going to just keep them warmer because they can make little nests in it, which even the bucks and does that are not pregnant will do if they're getting cold. Number 5 is to give treats such as oats and calf manna to give extra calories so that they can stay warm. I give my rabbits oats almost every week anyway, but since it's been so cold, I've been giving them oats every single day. And not only do they really love it, I can tell that it definitely is keeping them from getting skinny or losing weight, because the oats add so many extra calories, especially for does that are pregnant, nursing, or babies that have been weaned. They really need that to keep up the calorie intake. Number 6 is to give toys. Now my rabbits already have toys anyway, but I like to give them some extra toys because I'm not spending as much time with them because it's so cold out here for me. Rabbits have a really thick coat of fur, so it doesn't get as cold for them. a lot of rabbits do just fine in the colder weather, but because it's so cold out here for me, now that I have the heater, it's actually not bad out here. It's kind of warmer in here than it is in my house, but because I'm still not spending as much time out here with the rabbits, they definitely need the toys to keep their minds occupied, because I get bored in the wintertime when I can't go anywhere, and so do they. Tip number 7 is to give as much attention to the rabbits that you can. I know that it's winter and we all get snowed in, especially if you get snow heights into the feet and you can't even leave your house. I understand that, and that's okay. Don't kill yourself with worry about your rabbits if you can't give them enough attention. If you can bring them inside and give them attention when you can, that's wonderful, but if you can't, don't stress out that much about it. It is not going to last forever. It's only going to be the winter, maybe all winter for you, maybe just a couple of weeks. Spend as much time with them as you can. Get them out, play with them, cuddle them, snuggle them as often as you can, but don't kill yourself with worrying about them. Number 8 is where you keep your rabbit. When it is sub-freezing, you need to keep your rabbit away from the extreme temperatures. They need to be either in a shed or in a carport or some area where they're not getting exposed to the direct wind or snow or the freezing temperatures, because those can really take a toll on the rabbits really, really fast. So sorry the lighting is a little bit weird. It's kind of been weird through the whole video, so don't know what to say about that. But it is a little bit later. I had other things to do. But my 9th tip is concerning babies. So definitely newborn babies are at the greatest risk for dying from the cold because they don't have any fur. And no matter how good of a nest mom made, no matter how many babies were born, all of them are susceptible to the cold, so much more so than adult rabbits. And that's just because they don't have any fur and they're newborn baby bunnies. So I don't have any babies right now, but when I do, I always bring them inside. I'll usually put the nest boxes on my desk and take them out once a day in the morning to be fed by mom. And then I'll just keep them inside. And I have actually had no problem doing that by the time they're about 2-3 weeks old and actually start getting out of the nest box. Then I'll put hay all around the cage and give them back to the mom, and she doesn't mind at all. I haven't had any problems with her rejecting them because they smell like me or they smell like my house. I haven't had any problems with her not producing milk. She just goes right in the box when I bring it back out and feeds them, pops back out, and I take it back. I've never had issues with that. So usually that's what I'll do when I have newborn babies. If you're not able to bring them inside for whatever reason, just put as much hay as possible inside the cage. Put extra fur, extra bedding, extra cotton, whatever you have around the house. Put it inside the nest box to keep the babies warm because they're really going to need it. Make sure mom has extra food as well. Number 10 is regarding pregnant and birthing does. So pregnant does, definitely make sure you're getting them a lot more food during the winter time. Usually it's not recommended to give does extra food when they're pregnant because it can make the babies bigger. But during the winter when they're so cold, you definitely want to make sure that they have enough calories to support the growth of themselves as well as their babies. So definitely giving them extra food is a really good idea, as well as oats and calf manna like I talked about in one of my earlier tips. And with birthing does, if you have any does that are due to give birth, if you can, bring them inside. I have extra cages that I can use to bring inside for does to give birth in. They're just small little cages, but they work just fine for the purpose. If you can, bring the does in about a week or at least 3 to 4 days before they're due to give birth so that they can acclimate to the temperature and your household situation before giving birth so that it's not too stressful for them. If you are not able to bring them inside, put a ton of hay around the cage, extra nest boxes if you can. Just make sure that there are warm spaces for her to give birth to the babies and that there's no empty cage space or no way for the babies to get out of the cage, because sometimes that happens as well, and they'll definitely die if that happens and you're not there to save the babies. Those are all of the wintertime rabbit tips that I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below. Thank you again so so much for watching, and if you would like to see me do some more stuff and talk about my life outside of rabbits and all that kind of stuff, follow me on my other YouTube channel called Holly Lynn. I will leave the link down in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I know I've said that so many times already, but you guys are the best. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye!